Katz, great to be with you. Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Be sure to like the page. I have often used the line, and I don't know if I was the first, but I believe I am. There is nothing more dangerous, there is nothing more deadly, nothing more destructive to society than when people put their ideology ahead of their humanity. When that happens, when that takes place, where people take their ideology and put it ahead of their humanity, what you get is disaster. What you get is decay. If you think your politics are more important than decency, there is no way a society can thrive, can move forward, can have greatness. Thus, I take you to the story that broke last night, actually over the weekend. And it broke when people started noticing that on Twitter, this woman, this nurse who supposedly worked at IU Health, right, worked there for that group, put out a tweet, and the tweet said, and I'm quoting here. This is a black woman known as Night Nurse. That's the avatar. And it says, every white woman raises a detriment to society when they raise a son. Someone with the highest propensity to be a terrorist, rapist, racist, killer, and domestic violence all-star. Historically, every son you had should be sacrificed to the wolves, bitch. She's no longer a nurse at IU Health, and there are going to be big questions and big conversations about what organizations she was with, what kind of patients that she had. First, it started as an investigation that IU is doing to see if these were indeed her tweets. This then came a short time later, a statement on Sunday saying that she's no longer employed by IU Health. As I know the story, she hadn't worked for IU Health long, and there's going to be even a bigger conversation about the hiring practices regarding how'd she get the job. Did anybody look at her social media feed? Because the people at Reddit, they went through her social media feed. You want to hear some of her tweets? White women steal more than anyone. They used to blank up Nordstrom. Only blacks got followed by loss prevention, though. Then it was white people, the worst thing created. The stats don't lie. That was August of 2017 right there. So, yes, white people, it's your job to end racism because you are the racist ones. Hello. That was November of 2016. Here's one from October of 2017. Currently listening to a white nurse talk about the need of guns and how this could have been stopped with more guns. White people are so delusional. Well, clearly this woman, who has now been fired by IU, Indiana University Health, has an issue. And her issue is she has decided that all white people are evil. When someone says all black people are evil, we call them a racist. What do you say when a black woman says this of white women? And not only of white people and of white women, but says that you shouldn't raise your sons, you should kill them. What does that say? This is a woman who was in charge of dealing with who? Adults? Children? There's a talk that she worked with children in one of the hospitals here in Indianapolis. And I'm not here to knock Indianapolis. I'm willing to say you might find this in other places. But what does it say? Can you imagine if you're somebody whose kid was looked after by this nurse? Are you sure you got the right care? That conversation is going to come up everywhere. But it won't change where the real story is, which is about people putting their ideology ahead of their humanity. You're so mad at white people, you really think that the white baby boys should be dead? If someone said that about people who are black or anything else, you wouldn't let them in your house. This story is going to get swept under the rug by the civil rights leaders who should be the first people to talk out against this kind of hate and vitriol and this sickness of taking your ideology. I don't even know what ideology it is, and saying it's more important than being a human being. I don't think that you're guilty because you're black, and I don't think that you're guilty because you're white. And I think rational people should start thinking this way. This story it's obscene, but it's obscene in a couple of ways. This is a nurse who's supposed to be about protecting people and helping people. She wants people dead. That's obvious. And then it's about the idea of putting your ideology ahead of your humanity. And whenever that happens, disaster follows. We have to be decent before we engage politics. And by the way, this isn't even engaging in politics. This is engaging in sickness. Absolute sickness. And we shouldn't think that this deserves any credibility. And people who want to give this woman credibility and say, well, she has a point, those people are the enemy. They will out themselves. And it is our job to dismiss them from civil society. They don't get a seat at the table when they believe stuff like this. I'm Tony Katz.
Hammer and Nigel.
There's a big